guys, it's Lynn with Littlefoot Nursery. I am here with reborn baby Kai. He is the Phoenix sculpt by Andrea Arcello, and I have not played with him in a little bit. He's been covered with a blanket, so he is, dust free and everything. But I wanted to go ahead and change him into a romper by Gymboree, and I think this is really cute. He has not worn this before. This was actually worn by Connor, I think. But it is a 0 to 3 month size, so it should fit him okay. And while I chat and change him, I wanted to talk a little bit about just health updates in the family. And as you can see from the subject of this video, I recently, earlier today, went to get tested for COVID-19. So I will talk about that and kind of that experience, and just to share with you guys my story. Anyway, so I guess just to kind of back up, because I think I'd shared that my family was under the weather for quite some time. And actually, as I'm talking now, I mean, they've been under the weather for about a month. Really just like low-grade fevers off and on for the kids, and just some like fatigue and fatigue and headache were kind of the two major symptoms that adults were complaining of. And I caught the bug 1 week ago. So I kind of went 3 weeks without having any sort of fever. But then a week ago, I started having low-grade fever as well. And then just major fatigue. Like I would be working, and I've been working from home, but by like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I would all of a sudden feel like I just like couldn't do it anymore. I was just going to collapse, and I was just exhausted. So I don't know why that was, but basically this was happening for several days in a row, and then the fever would go away for like a couple days, and then it would come back. So it's just kind of off and on. And my husband and mother-in-law complained of the same thing. Just they would feel like they were starting to get better, and then all of a sudden the fever would like come back. And then it's just mainly the fatigue. So there hasn't been really that much coughing. Like I cough like a tiny bit here and there, but it's very occasional. And then very occasionally I do notice a little bit of shortness of breath, like just a little bit, not very extreme. But the thing, like when it actually happened once, and I was making a video, it was like one of my recent videos, maybe a couple weeks ago, where I remember I was making the video and I all of a sudden felt like just kind of winded for some reason. And earlier this week I was like on a phone call and I felt a little bit winded talking. I noticed my mother-in-law when she was talking to me last night, she seemed a little bit out of breath as well. So anyway, here's Kai. So I may not make these videos too long, just because that might be exhausting. But anyway, so we've been sick. But again, overall, it's felt kind of mild. I think it's just kind of felt like just this feeling of being, unwell and just sort of under the weather, but nothing very severe, like no major coughing, no major shortness of breath. And even the last couple days, my fever has gone away, which has been great. And so I feel like my energy's returned a little bit. But because the family has had these symptoms off and on for an entire month now, we just felt like this is kind of unusual. So, I called the nurse hotline, and they basically said, well, there's not really anything you could do. Just stay home and self-isolate. And I was like, okay. And then I called the children's pediatrician, and we did a telemedicine appointment and just kind of talked to him. And, he basically said, if the kids seem like they have good energy, there's no need to be concerned. But he seemed to acknowledge that there was a possibility that it could be COVID, and we just don't know, and we just may be mild, or it could be some other virus. And he just said if the kids' temperatures went up to more like 100, 101 more regularly or frequently, to call him back, and he'd want to see them at that point. So anyway, we have a great pediatrician. He's awesome. And then, I was also just sharing with him about the adults and our symptoms. And even though he's not our doctor, he was kind enough to say like, yeah, because I was saying, we just are so curious, like if we could just like test one of us and just try to find out if we have it or not. That would be like such a, it would just be good to know either way, even though there's really no cure and there's nothing that we do differently, it would be just good to know if that's what it is or not. So he did say, if you're showing some symptoms, now in Los Angeles, LA County at least, there are more tests available. There are drive-through tests, and so I think there's a website where you can go and he actually texted me the link. But there's a website where you can go and you don't need a doctor to send you, so that's changed, and they have a lot more spots available now, which is awesome. And I'm hoping this will be the case across the country, that there's just more availability of testing in general. But basically, he sent me this website, and you just basically had to say, like, have you been experiencing any of the symptoms? And the symptoms they list are, fever, cough, shortness of breath, and we've had fever and some shortness of breath and tiny cough here and there. So went ahead and said yes, and then they said, are you over 65? I said no, and but they're like, yeah, you're eligible to sign up for to do one of the drive-through tests. So I went ahead and picked the one that was closer to home and just like a 10-minute drive away. And I made the appointment a couple days ago, and this particular COVID test is a different one. It's not the one that like goes all the way where they put a swab all the way up your nose. That apparently is extremely uncomfortable. This is a self-administered one where there's like a cotton swab, and you kind of swab your left cheek, your right cheek, the roof of your mouth. And okay, so anyway, I'll tell you about my experience. I arrived to the site, and it's a drive-through, right? So they basically had the cars all spaced pretty far apart, and at the first station, they kind of verified my name and that I was signed up and had an appointment. At the second station, that was just kind of like a waiting station, and then there were two stations where they do the test itself, and you kind of had to wait till one of those freed up. So. And then they directed me to the one that was next available. And then I rolled down my window only like halfway, confirmed my name with them, and they got there's a plastic bag, and then they basically there's a plastic bag with some stuff in it. So they handed it to me through the window, and then they kind of stood at a little bit of a distance, and then the woman just said, yeah, take the little vial out, just kind of keep that in your lap for now, and then now take the cotton swab part, and then they had me swab left and right and on the roof of my mouth, and each time she counted to 10, so I didn't have to think about if I was swabbing enough. And then and completely painless, because it's just like a little cotton swab, almost like a Q-tip. And then she had me take the little vial of liquid, unscrew the top, put the swab in there, and then the swab thing breaks in the middle at that point. And then she said to go ahead and cap it tightly, then shake it to mix it up, and then stick it into the plastic bag, seal it, and then just drop it in. They had like a garbage can specifically designed for you to drop the sample. So that was it. That was, she had me before I swabbed, she had me cough into my mask. Excuse me. This is weird. Like, I've only started sneezing the last few days, and that kind of feels more like a cold, but I don't have runny nose or any of those other symptoms, so maybe the sneezing is just allergies, who knows. But so that was my experience. I mean, there was like no line. I think because the bit broader availability of testing is fairly recent, so yeah, there were only like 3 or 4 cars there when I was there, which was and it all went very fast. So I was kind of in and out of there. It was definitely less than 15 minutes. It might have been 10 or 15 minutes. And then I just went home, and I, as soon as I kind of dropped that thing off, I sanitized my hands, but there was really no contact with with any of the people there. They kind of handed you the thing, and they didn't want you to roll your window all the way down. They just kind of said, roll it halfway down, just so that you could hear them give you the instructions of how to do the self-test. So, yeah, that I thought it was very smooth and easy, and I'm so glad it was painless as well. So if you guys are having symptoms, I do think it could be worth going and trying to see if you could get tested, and at least looking into it, and because the testing is becoming more available than it was before. So anyway, This little boy is so cute, and he just brings a smile to my face. I also wanted to like highly recommend, by the way, just one of the fun things we watched. Disney did a Disney Family Sing Along special. It's on the ABC website or app if you didn't get to catch it live. Um, it was wonderful. Like we watched it as a family, and I got really like choked up and emotional at the end because they had this whole sequence where they were thanking healthcare workers and thanking, you know, essential workers, and it was just sweet. Like, and these celebrities were like filming this from their homes, and it just kind of like was just this reminder of, you know, we're all humans, and you know, no matter how famous you are, it's like we're all going through this together. We're all, you know, staying home and quarantining. And um, so anyway, well, back to the COVID test. I should get the results back in, they said about 5 days, and they will send me an email. And they said to check my spam filter just in case, because sometimes it can kind of end up going in there. So, so yeah, I'm just like really curious if that's what this is. I mean, you know, our symptoms are very mild, and under other circumstances, I might just, you know, chalk this up to being like a cold, except we have like no cold symptoms, and it's gone on for a month. So it's just super puzzling, and just made me think like, you know, maybe it could be that, and we just are a mild case. Um, they tested this, like, I think it was like a marine ship or something like that. They tested like over 4,000 people on that ship, and they found that, um, you know, of the ones that had COVID, that 60% were asymptomatic. So that's like so high, and so there's a chance there's quite a few people out there who have had it and just didn't even realize that they had it. So I think we just all kind of want to find out how widespread is this, and you know, for we can have any hope of kind of returning back to normal life at some point. It's going to be so important to get that antibody test, and for those of us to all just kind of know if we had it or not, and if we've built up some immunity. So, but yeah, I mean, it has now been, you know, a month of, you know, being at home, and I actually don't mind being at home, but I really do miss being out. I miss Disneyland, and I miss, you know, going to restaurants and going to stores and shopping, and um, you know, it's and just seeing friends and seeing my family, and giving hugs. You know, there's just so many things that I miss. But I just want to encourage all of us, and encourage myself included, like just continue to you know, isolate at home, and you know, follow, just be safe, you know, and try to stay home if you can. I did find out that there is an app called Dumpling where you can order grocery delivery from Trader Joe's, because that was like the one place that we love to shop that we've been really missing. And Trader Joe's is not partnered with Instacart, so we've been using Instacart for a lot of grocery delivery. But Dumpling, which is what my sister told me about, that app, you like pick a personal grocery shopper, and they will shop at Trader Joe's for you, along with a whole bunch of other stores as well. So it's really, really cool. And I think they get to keep more of the money too, versus I feel like Instacart might do more of a markup, and they may keep more of the profit, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, so just wanted to pass that along. And yeah, I know this hasn't been so much doll related per se, but I did want to share, I do have some new dolls coming, both reborn and otherwise. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. So there will be some fun box openings coming up in the future. And yeah, and then just health wise, thank you for everyone, just for your kind words and support, and just for your prayers and well wishes for my family and I. We're all doing okay, you know, and I think the adults are feeling a little bit better. I'm feeling a little sore throat come on again, so I'm just kind of thinking like I don't think I'm out of the woods yet, but after this I'll go drink some tea or drink some emergency, and hopefully that'll help. So anyway, stay well, everybody, and Kai's gonna say bye to you guys. I'll just kind of carry him again. Aw, he's such a sweetie. And you know, I really love smiling babies, as you guys know. They just like brighten the room. They really do. And This little guy is just such a sweetheart. Just love him. Anyway, all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you're new, and leave me a comment below. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.